Hey students, welcome to week 6. So I'm just going to do a quick overview of where we are right now. So first of all, last week I got a bunch of emails from you saying many of you had lots of big assignments due in 5th week. So I decided that first I was giving individual extensions, but there were actually enough of you that I've decided to just slow down the paper writing piece a little bit. So we're going to do theses are going to be revised during this week. Well, hopefully you should all have a finalized thesis by the end of this week. Also, once you have that, you're then going to work on your outline. Once you have me sign off on your outline, then you'll start drafting the paper. So you'll see the new deadlines in the revised syllabus, which I have uploaded to Blackboard if you want to look ahead. But you can also just work week by week. So we do want to keep up with the readings. So we're going to finish up now the first part of the course, which was sort of the colonial period, where we were mostly in South Asia and specifically India for almost all of it, except for my story, which takes place in Sri Lanka. Now we're going to move on to resistance to colonialism. And here we're going to go first to Ireland and then to Africa. So this week and next week we'll be in Ireland. And there's a bunch of sort of intro material for you to look at. So there's a introduction to Irish writing, which will sort of give you an overview of different ways to approach some of the readings that are coming in this week and next week. Where there's a piece of theory from Chang's Joyce, Race and Empire. That's a little dense. The main thing for you to focus on is take a look at the caricatures and the comics that appeared in newspapers and so on. He explains sort of their relevance. And as you are reading this, think about Said, think about what he said about superiority and inferiority and the way the colonizers sort of constructed this justification for what they were doing in India based on their sense of their own superiority. And what we're going to be looking at with these caricatures and a lot of the Irish readings this week will be about continuing that thread of justifications for colonization. You want to be sort of suspicious anytime you're reading literature and they talk about they describe the characters in ways that either reduce their humanity or make them seem supernatural, right? Anything that isn't human, it's easier to do terrible things to. So kind of the first step in treating people badly, and which is often a means to power, wealth, etc., is to reduce them, take away some element of their humanity. So you're going to be looking for that you can see it in the caricatures very clearly in the pictures, but then you're also going to be looking for it in the text that we read. You're then going to read two short things by Edmund Burke. Edmund Burke was sort of considered the father of modern republicanism. He was a member of Parliament, and the first piece we read, Reflections on the Revolution in France, he's talking about the French Revolution, where and Marie Antoinette being killed as part of it, and all across France, aristocrats being pulled out of their homes, guillotined in the streets, etc. And he's sitting there, a wealthy man in England, horrified and frightened for what's to come. And when you read that first passage, what you should look at closely are the ways he describes Marie Antoinette. He elevates her, he puts her up in the stars, he makes her seem more than human. And then also the ways in which he, trying to think how to say this, the ways in which he argues that the French with their ideals, the French revolutionaries with their ideals of equality, liberty, fraternity, are sort of like bean counting accountants. And he says, isn't it better to have a hierarchy, to have the nobility, the royals up at the top, and then they can inspire everybody else to be better. So he strongly believes in that, and he's trying to build a justification for it. So that's what you should look at there. There's also a little bit from a letter to his son, Edmund Burke. And Edmund Burke goes off to Ireland and gets involved with the Catholic revolutionaries. And we're going to talk more about Irish Catholicism and Irish history shortly. But this letter is kind of an amazing document, because he's, on the one hand, he's desperately trying to persuade his son to stop doing this dangerous thing that he doesn't really approve of, and come back home. But on the other hand, his son is a grown man, and he has to be careful not to put him off and make him stubborn and, just, I'm not going to listen to you, Dad. So he sort of starts the letter with like, son, I'm so proud of you. You're doing everything that I taught you to do. But as he goes on, he tries to convince him, Edmund, that this was not a good idea, fighting on the side of the Catholic revolutionaries. So those are the readings for this week. You've now watched the overview video. I'm going to do one more video on Irish colonial history. I don't think it's going to be too long. I'll try to keep it under 10 minutes. But please watch that. And I'd actually recommend watching it before you start the readings, because it'll give you again, a good introduction to everything we're doing. Yeah, I think that's it. So if you have questions, come find me on Slack. Keep up your reading journals. You're doing 4 journal entries this week, 1 on each reading. They're going to start setting you up for paper number 2, because even though we've slowed down paper number 1, paper number 2 is coming around the corner like a Russian train. And do 4 journal entries, 8 comments on your classmates' journal entries. So hopefully that's a manageable amount of work, and we'll see more of you soon. Remember that office hours are Tuesday at 5, Thursday at 9:30, Saturday at 2. Please feel free to drop into the Zoom for any of those. Okay, bye.